In our last episode, we explored the ideas of Thomas Hobbes, a philosopher who viewed human nature as fundamentally selfish and driven by the need for self-preservation. Hobbes argued that without a strong central authority, society would collapse into chaos. But what if human nature isn't as bleak as Hobbes believed? What if, instead of being driven purely by fear and survival, we are shaped by our experiences? John Locke was born in 1632 in England, about 44 years after Thomas Hobbes. Just like Hobbes, he lived through a period of political upheaval, including the English Civil War and the Glorious Revolution. These events shaped his thinking, particularly his ideas about government, freedom, and human rights. Locke studied at Oxford University, just like Hobbes, where he was initially trained in classical philosophy, but he became increasingly interested in science and medicine, fields that were rapidly advancing due to the work of thinkers like Francis Bacon and Robert Boyle. Locke was deeply influenced by empirical methods, which emphasized observation and experience over abstract reasoning. Unlike Hobbes, who was pretty pessimistic about human nature, Locke believed that people are born as a tabula rasa, a blank slate. He argued that all knowledge and personality traits were acquired through experience and learning, rather than being innate. His idea would later have a really big impact on psychology, particularly in areas like developmental psychology and behaviorism. Locke's ideas also had a direct influence on political thought. His most famous work, two treatises of government, laid the groundwork for modern democracy and human rights, inspiring figures like Thomas Jefferson and the framers of the US Constitution. That's good for on your resume. Hobbes and Locke agreed on one thing: the state of nature, the idea of what life would be like without government. But while Hobbes saw it as a chaotic, dangerous state of war, Locke believed it was not inherently bad. According to Locke, in a state of nature, people are generally rational and capable of cooperation. Unlike Hobbes, who thought humans needed an absolute ruler to maintain order, Locke argued that government should serve the people, not the other way around. If a government fails to protect people's rights, they have a right to overthrow it. And this concept, the right to rebel, would later inspire revolutions in America and France, shaping modern democratic societies. More on that later in the video. One of Locke's most groundbreaking ideas was empiricism, the theory that all knowledge comes from experience. This was in direct opposition to rationalist philosophers like René Descartes, who believed that certain ideas, such as morality or logic, were innate and present from birth. Locke rejected this view. He argued that, at birth, the human mind is a blank slate with no pre-existing knowledge or tendencies. Everything we know, from language to morals to scientific concepts, is acquired through sensory experiences and interactions with the world. This idea was revolutionary because it suggested that education and environment shape individuals rather than fixed, inborn qualities. It also challenged the rigid class structures of the time, implying that intelligence and virtue are not inherited but developed. This view probably didn't always make him friends. Psychologists like John B. Watson and B.F. Skinner would later build on this idea, arguing that human behavior is shaped entirely by external stimuli and reinforcement. Locke's concept of the blank slate had a major impact on developmental psychology. Imagine this: if we are born as blank slates, then our upbringing and education determine who we become. That idea changed everything, from child rearing practices to modern education systems. For example, Jean Piaget, one of the most famous developmental psychologists, built on Locke's ideas by studying how children acquire knowledge through experience. Similarly, Vygotsky's theory of social development emphasized how learning is shaped by interaction with others, another extension of Locke's empiricism. Locke also believed that children should be raised with reason and kindness rather than harsh punishment, an idea that was absolutely radical for his time, but is now widely accepted in psychology and Western society in general. In two treatises of government, Locke laid out his theory of the social contract, which directly opposed Hobbes' vision. While Hobbes argued that people give up their rights to a powerful ruler for security, Locke believed that governments exist to protect natural rights, including life, liberty, and property. If a government fails to protect these rights, Locke argued, citizens have the right to revolt and establish a new government. This idea was hugely influential, directly inspiring the American and French revolutions. His emphasis on individual rights and democracy influenced later thinkers like Jean-Jacques Rousseau, Immanuel Kant, and even modern human rights movements. Locke's theories on empiricism and the blank slate continue to shape psychology today. For example, in behaviorism, where his idea that experience shapes behavior influenced B.F. Skinner and John Watson, who argued that humans can be conditioned through reinforcement. It also shaped early developmental psychology, simply because his ideas about learning and environment laid the groundwork for Piaget and Vygotsky's theories. John Locke's ideas transformed philosophy, politics, and psychology. His belief that knowledge comes from experience challenged centuries of tradition and laid the groundwork for scientific inquiry and modern education. His political theories shaped democracy and continue to influence debates on human rights, government, and freedom. Locke's legacy reminds us that who we become is not determined at birth, but molded by experience, education, and the world around us. His work continues to inspire new research in psychology, proving that ideas from the 17th century still shape our understanding of human nature today. Thanks for watching.